Hi everybody, my name is Adrian Bridgwater. I'm a freelance technology journalist working across various trade titles. I'm here talking to CEO and founder of Druva, Jaspreet Singh, in advance of the company's DXP conference, obviously virtual, online only, in 2020, just to find out a little bit more about what Jaspreet thinks about the company, the way the technology is going, and the way the whole industry is going. So, Jaspreet, thanks very much indeed for joining me.
Good morning, Adrian, and welcome all.
Thank you. As we know Druva for data protection, we know you as a data protection as a service company. So we're in the world of cloud. If we had to ask you where companies are on their cloud journey right now, what sort of state of the cloud nation is? Not every single organization in every vertical is cloud native throughout. What would your sort of higher level opinion be on the sort of progression to cloud as we stand today?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. I think as we see in the world, we feel that it's still very, very early stages of public cloud adoption across the multiple segments of market, especially enterprise. We feel eventually the world will be one-third, one-third, one-third. One-third application will still reside in data center. One-third will be transformed into a SaaS-based workload, and then one-third will be the rebuilt or reconfigured to run on public cloud. This transformation, could take several more years to come. I think we are less than 20% into public cloud as yet, and when complete, you would see almost 80 million applications to be reconfigured, rebuilt, or repurposed for SaaS. And I think we have a few more years for that to take shape, size, momentum as we go along. So still early years in public cloud, but a massive momentum building in, especially with COVID and this pandemic going on.
So there's clearly a journey going on for most of the companies that are adopting levels of cloud, public cloud, as you said, in specific areas of their business. What general sort of replatforming advice would you give these companies? Because some of what's going on here is going to involve a little bit of re-engineering, isn't it?
Yes, I think what I would suggest and what we've seen with the customers and the customers tell us is that one size doesn't fit all. Every enterprise must see where the best applicability of public cloud is in their core setup. They could be in multiple stages of adoption. They could be in the foundation years of really understanding, is there a good fit with public cloud? Is it a good synergy? Or they could be in advances of deploying and reinventing themselves in public cloud, right? Given the stage they are in, given the industry they are in, given the vertical they are in, they must understand the applicability of public cloud. For a lot of organizations, it could be leveraging more and more, given the skill set shortage in the market, leveraging more and more SaaS-oriented workloads to adopt public cloud and not have to manage core IT or core infrastructure as they go along. For some, it could be repurposing or rebuilding some applications or replatforming, as we call it, to adopt. But everybody must start with, what's a good starting point? Right? Is it DevOps? Is it backup and recovery? Is it collaboration? Is it data science? Is it or even just a modernization, digitalization of workforce, right? So start small, test the waters, see how you can prove it out, and as you prove it out and start to deploy and leverage cloud, then it comes to sort of rebaselining and rethinking. How do I reinvent my IT or organization predominantly in favor of cloud? It's a step-by-step approach. Must start somewhere small and then go along.
And it's been an incredibly disruptive year for everybody. But we use this term digital transformation, don't we? Thinking about the transformation or the major transformative factors that are going to be changing the way people address enterprise IT in the next 6 to 12 months. Are there any areas? I mean, I know that you're strongly opinionated about the use of containers. Are there any specifics that you would point people to look towards as we get into 2021? Things that should be in their, if not their actionable roadmap, but in their sort of medium-term strategic roadmap.
I think great question, but it all very much depends upon which phase and which segment the enterprise is and which vertical it is, right? For some, it could be a supply chain transformation through use of machine learning or just a data science approach. For some, it could be collaboration for a very distributed organization. It all depends, but there's some common theme and thematic people could look at, right? Which dominantly makes more sense in public cloud. Um, from that point of view, you mentioned containers. Yes, containers is a great way to re-platform some application that you're already running using an Apache stack, it's a good way to build a burst capacity towards public cloud. There was never a single way to move sort of applications seamlessly between your current on-premise deployment and your public cloud scenario. So containers, from burst capacity point of view, from a re-platforming and re-engineering application point of view, could be a great way to test the waters if that's the approach the company wants to take. Right. There are other interesting areas as machine learning and data science, which are given the cost curve and the tools that makes a lot more sense to be done in public cloud. And then obviously there are the areas like backup and recovery and disaster recovery or even collaboration, which tremendously more sense in public cloud, given that expertise is not something the enterprise wants to take pride in building over time. It's best to be, in many words, sort of outsourced or leveraging a third party vendor to be built in public cloud.
And I think one of your opinions, the fact that you always say that cloud has changed the way technology works, and not all of the data is necessarily in the data center, certainly not even necessarily in the company premises, and that if those sort of quite major shifts in terms of where computing have happened, then doesn't data protection have to also have a major rethink in terms of the way where data protection happens?
Yes, absolutely. And let me tell you a story to sort of make my point, right? Let's rewind, I would say, gosh, probably 150 years at this point. And Thomas Edison and JP Morgan came together to, the Fourth Avenue Manhattan house Morgan had to find a way to light the 300 bulbs in JP Morgan's house. What they realized is it's much easier to lease electricity than actually to be deploying a genset in every single house, right? Now you fast forward all these years, same is happening to IT, right? Cloud is not a technology trend as much as a business trend, right? It's applying Amazon's retail economies to everything IT and APIs, right? So what customers are really interested to buy in the fast moving world is a set of SLAs they can buy at a fixed price point across the globe, right? Now these SLAs could be SLA to manage a supply chain, or these SLAs could be to manage a durability, reliability, uptime of data, right? Now the whole digitalization part you mentioned, the core of digitalization is a data transformation, right? Both from a data science part of view, that how do you build a centralized data warehousing to build data science and machine learning on top of it, or from a protection availability point of view as well, that my data is going to be everywhere. How do I make sure it's seamlessly protected and I serve data protection wherever the data actually was born into, right? And as the data gets more and more decentralized, the more and more centralized you want the data management to be. So truly speaking, in this distributed and highly diverse world, what customers truly care for from a cloud point of view is give me an SLA for my data to be uptime, durable, reliable, and up, as certain SLAs across the globe, adherent to local laws at a fixed price point, right? And that's what truly Druva believes in offering, that your resiliency, availability, durability of data is Druva's challenge across the globe, and that's the power of cloud. And in many of these cases, customers have a choice of building it themselves. And we always say that complex is competed, but simple is genius. The simplicity and elegance of as a service business model truly trumps everything else, where you can manage data as an SLA and as an API.
So sounds like you're saying that real infrastructural levels are changing. The way we're engineering cloud with data protection as a service is changing. It sounds like you're suggesting that the way workflows, the way business running on cloud will change? Do you envisage a different type of work environment due to all of these developments?
Yeah, the pace of innovation which is coming ahead of us, and many enterprises have to go through the level of change. It'll be impossible to deliver the same pace of change or innovation in the current infrastructure world of buying hardware, buying software, and deploying services to really manage data for a business unit which really wants to move fast and transform fast, right? So it would almost have to be managed like like an SLA saying, hey, I need data in so-and-so location. I must get it now. My application must be performant, up and running. And hence the pace of innovation can be only supported through a strong cloud lens and a strong SaaS lens, which the enterprise can manage strong and strict SLAs across the board.
Yeah, we're changing a lot of structures. That SLAs are now, it's not just delivering the products and services. Cloud-based companies are potentially being asked to deliver business outcomes, and that's the way IT purchases are being charged. There's a lot of infrastructural change happening there. We touched on what's going to happen in the next 6 to 12 months in a normal world, or any version of our next working IT year ahead. We touched on containers, but surely AI is in there somewhere. There are autonomous controls. Every technology company seems to have its own message set on that. Where do you stand on how AI will help in the Druva world?
I think it will have a tremendous impact on everything we do, and all our customers are thinking of machine learning or computer data science, as we call it internally, right? So they were, in the last 30 to 40 years, they were in mega trends of there was software, then there came internet, then came cloud, and now cloud is giving, and each trend gave birth to the next one. Software gave birth to internet gave birth to cloud, and then cloud is giving birth to machine learning or AI in general, right? There are sort of two facets of AI which are relevant and important when it comes to Druva and all things data, right? One is the level of controls and automation you can provide, right? With the skill set shortage as we face and the data growth, it's impossible to be able to manage the pace of growth of data with the same set of controls we had about 10 years ago, right? So just like what mobile did to all things software and enterprise, would AI bring the level of automated controls for this platform to be almost self-serving in many, many ways, and autonomous in many ways throughout the enterprise. The second facet is the whole approach of data mining, right? When we have to mine data from a text analysis, risk analysis, from a understanding of intent or understanding of confidentiality of the data, the human factor is going to be too slow to crunch all this data for, what should be retained, what should be disposed, what should be alert, how does legal workflows work, how does risk workflows work of the single data set, right? Traditionally, backup systems have been stronghold of all the companies' historical records of all things data, right? But the backup admin never exposes data to anybody else, given his or her core job was dominantly focused on backups being successful. Now, cloud changes things from multiple angles. One, people can collaborate a lot better, right? Multiple departments can come together to look at the same set of data without worrying about breaking each other's system, right? Second, the cost curve of compute and machine learning has gone to a level that large-scale data mining can happen at a fraction of cost, right? Almost 1,000 the cost of 10 years ago, right? With all the algorithms and GPU and TPUs and everything else. So with this, the large-scale data mining from security, risk, compliance, and even a knowledge source perspective, extremely possible and relevant, and an area of Druva's keen interest to look at. So in both the areas of automation and the area of data mining, we are keenly taking a look at machine learning and its applicability at the right price point for all our customers.
And thankfully, you just ended with the word customers there. Is that what the customers are saying? Are they saying, we know? What are they telling you? Are they saying, we know we need more stringent data mining techniques? We know we need to start data mining and process mining. Are they saying, we need to worry about containerization and start to take on those advantages. What are they saying to you?
Absolutely. So all these things, but in a customer's lens, they have to solve a business problem. So I have a great conversation with CIO of Power Tools recently, Sun Power recently, JB Sani, and he was walking through how next 3-year roadmap of the company is to have a digitalized outcome of every single rental can happen on a direct to consumer, can happen on a website, right? In their world, they have to digitalize their entire supply chain and delivery mechanism to customers using a cloud portal. Now, this traditionally is not possible given systems and tools they have. That's a business problem. The means to an end could happen through a more modern data platform, which could use a level of automation or level of data mining to get to the outcome faster. So data mining is a means to an end. It has to solve a business problem, and working with customers to understand their business challenges and how far we can get along the impossible to make it possible is what Druva will be focused on.
Right. Okay. And so just coming back full circle, excuse me, coming back full circle to wrap up then, Jaspreet, what do you say to customers at the beginning of their journey? Do you say pick one area, pick one application? Literally within the first half an hour of meeting or first 30 seconds of meeting the companies you work with, what's your sort of initial advice, would you say?
We love to spend time to understand customers' current pain point and their future direction, and in their core initiative and direction, to see which of these new initiatives can be powered by the data modernization, digitalization, or cloud transformation, and in that line of thinking, how does data protection or Druva come into picture? And always start something small, prove it out well, and then expand is our core focus. And we have three amazing announcements coming in DXP to exactly align to some of these areas, which will highlight to customers how we're going to aid their cloud journey in a very concrete and a fruitful manner.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, look, thank you. I'm just going to say thank you very much indeed. I know we're all looking forward to DXP 2020. If I might suggest, we're all even more looking forward to DXP 2021 when we might be able to meet each other. With this virtual version of things, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, Jaspreet. Thanks very much indeed. And I'd like to thank everyone who has dialed in for doing so. And obviously, I'd encourage you to visit the Druva website to learn more. So thank you again, everyone.
Thank you very much.